You take a deep breath to stop the twitch just below your left eye. The air is thick with expensive cigarette smoke, women's perfume, and the fear of people who don't belong here. You're 36 years old, one of the most senior detectives in the Organized Crime Bureau. But right now, you're sitting in this clandestine casino, wearing a custom-made Italian suit worth $2,000 and carrying a fake businessman's ID in your pocket. Your goal isn't to play the game or win the millions on the table. Your goal is to find the shadowy leader known as the Architect, who controls the city's entire unregulated money flow and whom the agency hasn't even been able to name in 2 years. This isn't an ordinary gaming hall. It's a closed-off box where bureaucrats, judges, and crime lords leave their identities at the coat check and engage solely in a power struggle. If you can't walk out through those wooden doors at the end of the night with the right evidence in hand, 2 years of your hard work, and more importantly, the civilian life you sacrificed for this operation, will be gone forever. The green felt on the table stretches out before him like a crime scene. The dealer at the blackjack table moves his fingers so mechanically that, with a professional eye, you can immediately tell where the irregularities begin from the speed at which the cards are dealt. But you don't say a word. A detective doesn't seek justice where he's infiltrated. He only gathers information. The chips in front of him were drawn from the police's covert operations fund, and with each one spent, a mental ledger is updated. Hidden inside the watch on his right wrist is a micro-sized frequency transmitter. With every breath, you feel the coldness of the thin wires embedded in your skin, hidden beneath your ribcage. Outside, 2 blocks down the street, your partner Leo is sitting inside that modified minivan, packed with technological listening devices. He's listening to you, recording every conversation at the table. That is, if the heavy insulation and signal jammers in the casino's walls haven't already jammed the frequency. For now, you have to assume you're completely alone. "Bets are being taken, Mr. Soydan," says the female dealer. You notice her pupils dilate ever so slightly as she pronounces his fake last name. It's a professional reflex. The eyes of people who are lying, hiding something, or trying to trap the person across from them never lie. You study her. On the woman's left wrist is a diamond bracelet far too luxurious for her to afford on her salary here. It's likely a loyalty bonus from the boss, or worse, a rank she uses to mark outsiders who've infiltrated the place. You slowly slide those red chips, worth a police officer's 6-month salary, into the center of the table. The cards in your hand are a Jack of Hearts and a 7 of Clubs. Total 17. You need to stop, but your eyes are drawn to the 2 burly bodyguards standing in the dimly lit corridor just behind the table. The guards' stances, constantly shifting their weight to their right legs, are clear evidence that they're carrying hidden formidable weapons under their jackets. They aren't here to protect this place, they're waiting to prevent someone inside from getting out. The man sitting on your left is a senior criminal court judge who presides over the city's high-profile drug cases. His hands are shaking so badly that the faint clink of his whiskey glass as he sets it down on the table feels like a bomb going off in your head. Seeing how justice is influenced by wealth and which decisions are toasted at these tables turns your stomach. But you don't let the indifferent, wealthy businessman mask on your face waver even a millimeter. Just then, the double doors at the end of the corridor swing open. Entering is the absolute authority who will make everyone here bow their heads. Victor, the casino's public face, the Architect's right-hand man, and your primary target tonight. The gray jacket on Victor is so flawless that the man seems to be running a massive financial holding company rather than a criminal empire. He walks directly toward your table. The rhythmic slowness of his steps mirrors the calm of a predator circling its prey. "Our new guest seems to be having a run of good luck," says Victor, settling into the empty seat right behind you. You catch a whiff of him, bitter tobacco and old leather. You feel his hand on your shoulder. In that moment, all those close combat techniques you learned in the training room flash through your mind. It takes just 2 seconds to neutralize him with your left elbow and disarm him of the device under his jacket with your right hand. But you have to act not like a cop, but like that spoiled businessman who thinks he can buy the world with his money. "Luck is just a word people cling to when they're unprepared, Mr. Victor," you say. "I didn't come here relying on luck. I came here to play at the right table, with the right people." Victor smiles slightly. This smile is exactly the same as that helpless yet arrogant reflex criminal's flash, just before giving up when cornered in an interrogation room. Victor pulls up the empty chair next to him and sits directly across from you. The darkness in his eyes is a portrait of the deepest corruption you've ever seen in your professional career. You know they've been poring over the fake stock market accounts and city entry and exit documents in front of you for days. The organization crafted a flawless record for you, but these men's suspicions can't be erased with fabricated documents. They look you in the eye. They smell fear. "I hear you've been playing big on the stock market, Mr. Soyden," says Victor, signaling the dealer to deal a new hand. "But the underground market is a bit rougher. Here, one wrong move wipes out not just your money but your name as well." This isn't a friendly chat. It's the most dangerous cross-examination, taking place in a smoke-filled room surrounded by armed men. You feel the phone in your pocket vibrate slightly. It's that secret signal from Leo. 3 short vibrations. It means the data stream has started. Keep the guy talking. The transmitter under the table has already started sending Victor's tone of voice and words to the agency's database. If you can keep the guy at the table a little longer, we'll be able to complete that critical voice analysis that will decode the codes from his secret phone calls with the architect. "I like a good game," you say, pushing the chips in front of you a little further forward, "especially when I feel like I know who the real player behind the table is." This sentence is a big bait tossed into the water. The momentary freeze in Victor's eyes is the clearest proof you've hit the right nerve. The man gives a slight nod to the bodyguard behind him. The bodyguard pulls a sleek black briefcase from inside his jacket and places it on the table. When you open the briefcase, instead of the flashy chips inside, you see hundreds of microfilm strips and encrypted ledgers. This is the ultimate proof of the city's entire underground network. How much was paid to which politician, which shipment departed from which port. "The architect loves a bold move at the table," says Victor, gently nudging the briefcase toward you. "The winner of this hand tonight will take not just the money on this table, but the key to the city. But the loser..." He pauses. The room grows so silent that the tinkling of the massive crystal chandelier can be heard. The loser will never walk out of this door again. Your eyes are fixed on the documents inside that briefcase. You feel your heart pounding against your ribcage, the blood in your veins roaring like a river. Everything you've been searching for, the ultimate victory for which you've told lies, left your family and passed behind, is now just 30 centimeters away. If you can grab that briefcase and get out of here, you can bring down that massive criminal network that's been crushing this city in a single stroke. But the seasoned detective inside you is screaming, "This is a trap." Victor didn't put this on the table just for a game. They suspect you're not a businessman, but the mole they sent deep into the organization. If you show even the slightest curiosity, even the slightest professional interest in those documents, you'll be handing over your identity with your own hands. If you walk away from the table, the operation is over. You have only seconds to decide. The dealer begins placing the cards on the table. The first card is the Queen of Clubs. The second card lands face down in front of her. The cards in front of Victor are arranged in the same way. Just then, the phone in his pocket vibrates again. But this time, it's not a short vibration. A long, uninterrupted, and agonizing vibration. This is the secret red alert code the team outside uses when their partner Leo senses danger and wants to cancel the operation immediately. Leo realized something had gone wrong outside. Maybe the men in front of the casino spotted the frequency hunters inside the van. Maybe the signal device inside has been decoded, and right now they're just playing cat and mouse with you. You feel a cold bead of sweat trickling down your forehead, but you don't take your eyes off Victor's icy gaze for even a moment. The badge is in a drawer at the police station, and the personal sidearm is in a hidden compartment in the car 2 blocks away. Right now, you're completely exposed. You're left with nothing but your lies, your wits, and those 2 cards in your hand. Victor slowly brings his hand to his own face-down card. The confident, mocking smile on his face deepens. "Time is running out, Mr. Soydan," he says. "Are you ready to play the biggest gamble of your life? To reveal your card?" The green felt on the table seems to darken slightly. The lights in the room are blinding. The cop inside you whispers one last time, "Get out of here now." But you reach your fingers toward that face-down card on the table. As you slowly lift the card, your hands are so sweaty that you can feel your fingers trembling with excitement. That agonizing, non-stop emergency vibration that kept hitting your leg from under the table has stopped. Leo isn't calling anymore. Either they've raided the van outside and taken Leo away, or the signal has been completely cut off because of this room's walls. There's no rescue scenario coming from that minivan now. You're completely alone, and the man across from you is an underground financier who's seen enough corpses to catch even the tiniest flicker of fear in your eyes. As Victor brings his hand to his face-down card, it's as if he's holding your fate in the tips of his fingers. When that man asks, "Are you ready to play the biggest gamble of your life? To reveal your card?" The pressure in the room takes your breath away for a moment, but you pull yourself together immediately. You lay the card face up. That 3 of clubs, which landed next to the Queen of Spades, glows in the center of the table, like a crime scene report. The total is 13. Your chances of winning are even slimmer than your chances of walking out of this illegal gambling den unscathed. But your goal isn't to win this game. It's to keep the mind behind it sharp. Despite the panic inside you, you say, "I'm standing," without a tremor in your voice, perfectly calm. When you say, "I'm standing," the dealer pauses for a moment and just stands there with the cards in her hand. Standing on 13 is clear proof that you've cracked the professional cheating system at these tables, or that you're hiding behind a completely reckless bluff. Victor's eyes briefly drift to the black briefcase on the table, the ledger books containing the city's entire corrupt bureaucratic network. You realize that the professional focus in your gaze as you look at those documents resembles a detective's zeal for gathering evidence more than a businessman's greed for money. As Victor slowly unfolds his card, that mocking smile on his face, he says, "There's not much difference between courage and madness here, Mr. Soyden." A jack of clubs, total of 20. The guards' hands at the table move simultaneously into their jackets, toward those cold implements. In that moment, all the reflexes you learned in the training room kick in. If you don't make the first move, you have no chance of getting out of this room alive. They'll ensure you never speak again. But you don't panic like a criminal. Like a detective, you turn the counterattack into a purely mental operation. Hoping the transmitter on your wrist is still active, you adjust your voice to the frequency the room's microphones will pick up most clearly. "My position isn't 13, Mr. Victor," you say, leaning back slightly in your chair. "My position is right in the middle of those port shipment records inside that briefcase. Specifically, those 3 containers that passed through customs unregistered last Tuesday at midnight." When you say that, everyone in the room freezes for a moment. Not a sound is heard. That smug smile on Victor's face gives way to the same blank expression murderers show just before they give in, when cornered in an interrogation room. You set aside that spoiled businessman persona. Now standing before them is a fearless organized crime detective who knows exactly what he's doing. "The Bureau wanted to know whose signature got those containers into the city," you say, staring straight into his eyes without blinking once. "We were looking for the architect's secret shadow at customs. This 13 in my hand isn't the card I lost. It's the date your massive financial machine in this city collapsed." Just then, footsteps coming from behind the door disrupt the corridor's silent rhythm. The man who walks in is Deputy Police Chief Carver. He's the superior who personally approved this infiltration operation, secured the budget, and told you, "Don't come back without those documents." But Carver isn't wearing a police uniform. He's in an expensive coat, and his face is etched with deep despair. He walks straight up to Victor and places his hand on his shoulder. In that moment, you realize why your partner outside, Leo, sent that long alarm vibration. Leo had seen on the screens in the van whose signature that secret mark in the customs records belonged to. The architect's biggest protector within the police department was Carver, who had been compromised, the superior standing right in front of you. The operation hadn't been compromised. It had been designed from the very beginning by Carver to present Victor with a sacrificial lamb. "The reason I sent you here was your honesty, son," says Carver, maintaining that phony, fatherly tone in his voice. "Because honest people don't know where to stop, but they show very clearly where they'll end up. Leo has already been suspended for insubordination. Now that black briefcase and all those accounting records inside will stay on this desk, and when you walk out that door tonight, you'll go down in the records as an honest detective who lost everything on the stock market and committed suicide." Or, Carver pauses, gesturing toward the memory stick and documents on the desk. "Or you'll become part of this compromised system and completely forget about your daughter's never-ending medical bills. The system is targeting your weakest point. On one side is the sacred oath you swore at Quantico. On the other, the harsh realities of life. If you resist, Carver's fabricated reports will ensure that by tomorrow morning, the press will portray you as a compromised officer caught red-handed at a gambling table. No one will know you're the hero who infiltrated the city to save it. History will record you as nothing but a stain. That old, honest cop inside you is screaming one last time, demanding you protect the honor of that badge. But that voice has already been crushed between the ruthless gears of the real world. You slowly reach out your hand. As you close the lid of that black briefcase and grip the handle, you know the weight between your fingers isn't justice's. It's the weight of your own soul. I'll leave the coordinates for the new shipment at the customs office on Carver's desk tomorrow morning, Mr. Victor, you say. Your voice sounds so foreign, so emotionless, that you can't even recognize your own inner voice. Victor leans back with satisfaction and bursts into laughter, while Carver taps you lightly on the shoulder and says, "You made the right decision, detective." They're savoring that absolute pleasure of dragging another honest man into their own swamp, of corrupting him. You get up from the table. As you button up your Italian suit, you feel as though even your own shadow is ashamed of you under the dim lights of the hallway. When you step out through the casino's heavy wooden doors and breathe in the city's cold, dirty air, you see Leo being handcuffed and forced into a civilian vehicle across the street. Leo is looking at the black briefcase in your hand through the window. The deep disappointment and pain of betrayal in his eyes will be the heaviest punishment you'll carry for the rest of your life. Did you cross that line to save him, or because you bowed to the system's power? You'll never be able to admit the answer to that question out loud. As you take the wheel and press down on the gas pedal, you know you no longer have the courage to look at your reflection in the rearview mirror, because you crossed that line once, detective. Neither that badge is its old color anymore, nor are you the same honest man you once were. Some stories leave a trail of dirt behind them even after they've ended. To follow the detective's new cases in this gray world and see the decisions he'll make, like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on my other videos.